Okay, we are going to be correcting our ecosystem vocab task card. So remember, for each problem that you get incorrect, you're going to complete one of these CER sheets. So saying what your claim is, the evidence or facts from science, and then your reasoning. How does the evidence support my claim here? In complete sentences, so you should have 3 complete sentences here with your correct answer for each of the problems that you missed. You will staple this to your answer sheet and turn it in for credit. Not only will this help your grade, but then this will also make sure we know what we did incorrectly. Okay. Number 1, which image best represents a community? Our answer is going to be C, because we have living and non-living things interacting with each other, but also multiple different populations together. So our community is C. Okay. Which image best represents a population? A population is how many of one species is in an area. So it's going to be B. So it shows you how many tadpoles are in one area. Just like a population count of people. Same thing with animals. Number 3, which animal or which image shows a producer? We know that producers are plants. They produce their own energy using photosynthesis. So your answer is B. The rest are consumers. Which image shows a consumer? A consumer is an organism that eats other organisms for its energy. A, B, and D are all 3 producers or plants. C is the only consumer. The turtle has to consume something else for its energy. Number 5, which of the following is not an example of an organism? There we go, focus. So what is not an organism? We know that organisms are living things, including plants and animals, but we're not looking for an organism here. Okay. Phytoplankton is a very small producer in an aquatic environment or in the water. Fox are a living thing. Oak tree is, again, a living thing. The answer is soil. Soil is non-living. It is not an organism. Okay. Number 6, which of the following is not a characteristic of living things? Okay, so the ability to reproduce, yes, all living things reproduce. The ability to respond to their environment, yes, this is true. Does not need energy. This right here does not qualify as a characteristic of a living thing. And then requires water. All living things require some sort of water. So C is your answer. Not needing energy is not a characteristic of living things. Number 7, which of the following is an example of 2 organisms that most likely interact in an ecosystem? So we're looking for 2 organisms or 2 living things that are in the same ecosystem and interact with each other. A turtle and a rock. A rock is not a living thing. A shark and a deer are not going to be interacting in the same ecosystem. A flea and a dog, both living, both would have interactions together. That makes sense. A cat and water. Water is not living. Your answer is C. Number 8, which list contains only non-living components that impact a beach ecosystem? So we're just looking for non-living things. No organisms, just non-living things. Saltwater, sand, crab. Crab and seaweed are living things, so those are not our answer. Saltwater, algae. Algae is living, so this is not our answer. Sand, sunlight, salt, water. All 3 of those are non-living. Seaweed, algae, crab, all 3 of those things are living. So our answer is C. Number 9, what does it mean for an organism to perish? To perish means to die or no longer be living. But we know if it was an organism, it was once living. Okay, so your answer is B here. What does it mean for something to be non-living? Non-living means it has never been alive. It is abiotic. It is non-living, never once been alive. So A is our answer there to number 10. It has no basic needs and was never alive. What does it mean for something to be once living? Once living means at one time it was an organism, it was alive, it had needs, it did have a life cycle. All of those things were once true about it, but now it is dead. Okay. This is going to be B. 11 is B. It has perished, so it died and no longer depends on basic needs. Number 12, what is a habitat? That is going to be the environment of an organism, where they live, including the living and non-living things in its environment. Get it to focus, maybe. There we go. Sort of. All right. What is the difference between an environment and an ecosystem? Okay. Our answer is going to be A. An environment does not involve interactions and an ecosystem does. Okay. So our environment is just the setting, the setting, and then the ecosystem talks about how they all interact with each other. Okay. So A. 14. What is the difference between a population and a community? We said a population is how many of one species there are. There's 13 raccoons in this area. There's 27 deer. All of those will be population, just a head count of one species. And then a community is going to be many different species together. Okay. So number 14 is going to be B. Population involves only one species, and a community involves all of the species living in an area. Okay. Number 15, what is the difference between a producer and a consumer? We know that producers are plants. They create their own energy using photosynthesis. And a consumer is an organism that has to eat another organism to get energy. Whether it eats plants or animals or both, it must consume something else. Our answer to this one, number 15, is going to be D. Producers can make their own food and consumers cannot. Number 16, how are once living and non-living organisms similar? So again, once living things were alive at one point, and non-living things were never alive at all. Okay. Our answer to this one is going to be D. Neither requires resources for survival because neither of them are living. They don't have needs, so they don't have to have resources to survive because they're either non-living or dead. All right, number 17. Which term best fits in the blank? Right here. So we have our producers. Phytoplankton, grass, and oak tree are all three producers, meaning they're plants, and they create their own energy using photosynthesis. And then we're going to create or pick the term that like labels the shark, antelope, and fox. Okay. Our answer to number 17 is C. They're all three consumers. They have to eat something else to get their energy. Number 18, which word best describes this image? It's going to be C, ecosystem. Okay. A species would be just one type of organism. Non-living would be all non-living things. We know that plants and animals are both living things, so that would not be it. There are organisms here. An ecosystem has living and non-living things interacting, and a population would be a head count of one species. But there's several different species of organisms here. So C, ecosystem for 18. 18 is ecosystem. Number 19, which of the following lists a community? Our answer for this one is going to be D. Community of fox, deer, oak trees, and robins. Got all the living things together in one area. Okay. The reason these won't work is because these things don't live together. Whales, fox, shark, and coyote don't all live together in one area. Fish, squirrels, water, and sand. Again, these two are non-living things, so that doesn't work. We have a cacti, duckweed, and roses. These don't live in the same area, so they wouldn't work as well. So D is your answer to that one. Number 20, what do Labradors, Beagles, German Shepherds, and Poodles all have in common? That is going to be B. They're all the same species of animal. They all have that canine species. Okay. I know they're different breeds, but they're all the same species. They're canines. Okay. Please make sure that you complete your CER for each of the missed problems, staple it to your answer sheet that's already graded, and turn this back in for credit on this assignment. Okay?